You can build a real food reserve for pennies a calorie, and today I'm counting down the 7 cheapest calories per dollar you can buy right now, so you stretch your grocery budget without panic and without clearing the shelves. If this is the kind of calm, practical help you want more of, hit subscribe to Shelf Alert. It genuinely keeps these weekly episodes coming, and it costs you nothing. Now, let me settle one thing straight away. This isn't doomsday spending. You don't need a bunker or a panic run to the store. A good reserve is simple. It's just knowing which humble staples hand you the most energy for every single dollar you put down. Because being ready isn't an alarm, it's common sense. Quick question before we start, friends. How many days of food could your pantry cover right now? Don't guess in a hurry. Really picture the shelves. Keep that number in mind, because by the end of this list, you'll know exactly how to grow it. One calm bag at a time. Here's how each item works. I'll give you the benefit, roughly how long it lasts, the smart way to store it, and exactly what to look for when you're shopping at Aldi, Lidl, Walmart, or Costco. Concrete stuff you can act on this week. Let's start the countdown. Number 7. Rolled oats. A single big bag delivers thousands of cheap calories plus real fiber that keeps you full. That's a lot of breakfasts for very little money. Stored right, they'll last a year or two easy. Just pour them into an airtight jar and keep them away from heat and light. And here's the buying tip. Grab plain rolled oats, or quick oats if you like. Skip the little flavoured packets loaded with sugar. You're paying more for less food and they don't store as well. If oats are already sitting in your cupboard, you're one step ahead. That's exactly the kind of quiet, common-sense start we're after. No stress, no big shopping spree. Just one smart staple already working for you. Number 6. White rice. This one is a preparedness classic, and for good reason. Long grain white rice, sealed up properly with an oxygen absorber tucked in the container, will store for 5 years or more. 5 years. That's a genuine backbone for any reserve. And the price? A bulk bag from Costco or Walmart drops the cost per pound dramatically compared to those small grocery bags. One quick warning though. Skip brown rice for long storage. The natural oils in it go rancid, so it just won't keep the way the white does. For a reserve, white rice wins. Number 5. Dried pasta. Cheap, calorie-dense, and about as easy as food storage gets. Left in the box, or better yet in a sealed bin, dried pasta stays good for 1 to 2 years. No fuss. When you're shopping, do one thing. Check that price per pound label and buy the lowest you can find. And go for the sturdy shapes, the penny, the rotini, the elbows. They hold up in the bag and on the plate. The delicate stuff snaps into dust at the bottom of the box. So look at what you've got already. Oats, rice, pasta. 3 staples, dirt cheap, that stack up into a serious pile of calories for almost no money. That budget worry you walked in with? It shrinks fast when you see how little this really costs. But here's the thing. Numbers 7, 6, and 5 are just the grains. Good, filling, cheap, yes. Energy, though, isn't the whole picture. The real value on this list sits right in the middle, where 2 humble staples cost pennies a serving, and, paired with your rice, give you a complete protein for almost nothing. That's where cheap grains quietly turn into real meals, and that's where we're headed next. Pennies a serving, paired with your rice for a complete protein. That's number 4. Dried beans, lentils, and split peas. The staples where the real value on this list finally shows up. Here's why they matter so much. $1 of dried beans doesn't just buy you calories, it buys you protein too. Kidney beans, black beans, pintos, red lentils, green split peas, it barely matters which. They all cook down soft and filling, and they all cost next to nothing by the bag. Store them dry in sealed jars or food-grade buckets, kept cool and away from moisture, and dried beans, lentils and split peas will last a decade, 10 years. Picture a shelf lined with clear jars, each one holding weeks of meals, quietly waiting until you need them. If you've ever cooked a pot of beans and rice, you already know how far a dollar stretches. Tell me in the comments how you season yours. Cumin, a ham bone, a splash of hot sauce. I want to hear it. And that pairing is the whole point. On their own, rice gives you energy and beans give you protein. But each one is missing a piece the body needs. Put them together in the same bowl and you close the gap. Beans plus rice equals a complete protein. The kind of meal that actually keeps you full and fed, built from two of the cheapest things in the store. That's the heart of an affordable reserve. Right there on a plate. Cheap grains, cheap legumes, real nutrition, almost no money. This is the part I'd want a friend to hear. So if someone you know is trying to eat well on a tight budget, share this with them. It's honestly the single best trick I know for stretching grocery money without living on junk. Now, number 3, flour. This one's a quiet giant. All-purpose and whole wheat flour are the foundation under bread, tortillas, pancakes, biscuits, dumplings, countless meals you already make. With a bag of flour, a little water and some yeast, you can turn a few cents into a fresh loaf on the counter. All-purpose flour keeps about a year in the pantry, stored cool and sealed. And longer if you tuck it in the freezer or seal it up tight with the air pushed out. Whole wheat runs a bit shorter because of the natural oils, so rotate that one a little quicker. Where do you get the best price? The warehouse bulk bags. A big sack of all-purpose from a place like Costco or Walmart drops your cost per pound way down compared to those small 5-pound bags. When you're buying, look for tight, undamaged packaging and a good best by date. No pinholes, no tears, no flour dust leaking out the corner. That's your sign air and pests have found a way in. And glance at the best buy stamp so you know what you're working with from day one. Which brings me back to the habit that ties this whole thing together. Every bag you bring home, label the date. A strip of masking tape, a marker, the month and year. That's it. Set the newest behind the oldest and use the oldest first. Rotate as you go. That simple loop is what turns a pile of groceries into a real reserve, one that stays fresh instead of quietly going stale in the back. And you don't do it all at once. One calm bag per trip. Beans this week, flour next week, another jar the week after. That's how a reserve gets built. Not in a panic, but in a rhythm. So look at what we've got so far. Oats, rice, pasta, beans, and flour. Calories, protein, and the makings of fresh bread, all for very little. But grains and beans give you calories, and there's still one thing missing to make cheap food genuinely satisfying. The thing that turns a plain pot of rice into a meal you actually crave. It's the single most calorie-dense food there is, packing over 4,000 calories per litre. That's number 2. Over 4,000 calories per litre. That's number 2, and it's cooking oil, the quiet secret weapon of cheap calories, because fat is simply the most calorie-dense food there is. Think about that for a second. A single bottle you can pick up for a couple of dollars holds more raw energy than a whole bag of most other staples. Vegetable, canola, or sunflower oil, the plain, ordinary stuff on the shelf at Aldi or Lidl, is dirt cheap and does more work per dollar than almost anything in your cart. Here's how it lasts. Stored cool and dark, unopened, a bottle of oil holds its quality for 1 to 2 years. Keep it away from the stove, away from sunny windowsills, tucked in a cupboard where it stays steady. Heat and light are what turn it. So buy it, date it, and let it sit in the dark. And this is the part folks miss. Oil is what makes cheap food genuinely satisfying. A pan of rice and beans is fuel. Fine, filling, honest. But drizzle a little oil over it, let it sizzle, and suddenly it's a meal you actually want to eat again tomorrow. That's the trick. A small amount transforms your cheap grains from survival food into real food. For pennies, which brings us all the way to the top. Number 1, the single cheapest calorie of all, sugar. Bet you didn't expect the cheapest calorie of all to be sitting in your baking cupboard. Did you guess it? Let me know down in the comments. Plain white or granulated sugar wins the whole countdown, and here's why. Sugar essentially never spoils when kept bone dry in a sealed container. Not 1 year, not 5. Basically indefinitely. Keep the moisture out, and a bag you buy today could outlast almost everything else on your shelf. It's dirt cheap by the bag, especially in the bigger sizes at Walmart or Costco. Pour it into an airtight container, snap the lid, and forget about it. If it clumps, it's just moisture. Break it up, it's still fine. But sugar earns its number 1 spot for more than price. It's 3 things at once. It's your baking, bread, treats, the small comforts that keep a household feeling normal. It's your preserving, jams, syrups, putting the summer harvest up for winter. And honestly, it's morale food. When times are tight, a little sweetness matters more than we like to admit. Baking, preserving, and a lift for the spirit, all in one bone-dry bag. So step back and look at what we've built. Oats, rice, pasta, beans, flour, oil, and sugar. Line them up on the shelf together. Not one of them is glamorous. No fancy labels, no trendy packaging, nothing that turns heads. But together? Together, they're the backbone of a resilient, affordable reserve. Grains for energy, beans for protein, flour for bread, oil for fat and flavour, sugar for the long haul and the morale. That's a genuinely balanced foundation, and you can build the whole thing for less than 1 big restaurant dinner. Here's the part I want you to hold on to, friends. You don't need to buy all 7 today. That's not how this works, and it never was. Panic clearing a shelf helps no one and stresses you out for nothing. Instead, 1 calm bag at a time. On your next grocery trip, grab 1 extra, just 1. A bag of rice this week, a sack of beans the next, a bottle of oil after that. Bring it home, store it properly in something airtight and cool, and label the date right on it so you always know what's oldest. Then rotate as you go. Cook from the front, restock at the back. Simple. Do that week after week, and something quietly wonderful happens. Without ever feeling the strain, you look up one day and there it is. A real reserve on your shelf. Enough to keep your family fed and your own mind at ease. No stress, no panic, just steady, sensible readiness that you built yourself. 1 smart purchase at a time. If this gave you 1 calm next step, subscribe to Shelf Alert for practical stockpiling tips every single week. That's why we're here. So that's your 7. Now go grab 1 bag on your next trip, label the date, tuck it away, and remember, being ready isn't an alarm. It's just common sense. I'll see you next time.